you guys are all enjoying your meals. Luke just has, as many of you know, Luke is a very, very scheduled person, and he did not fail this weekend. Upon arriving, I got a 3-page itinerary. So I was paging through, and I was particularly interested to come across 5:50 p.m. Everyone seated, Gabe explained kissing. So I wasn't really anticipating that, but I'm willing to do whatever Luke wants. And so I put together a PowerPoint, wasn't realizing there wouldn't be computers here. It was very thorough and informative, but I just had a few quick highlights. So dictionary.com, first. Kissing is to touch or press the lips slightly pursed, and then often to part them and to emit a smacking sound. In an expression of affection, love, greeting, reverence. So number one, there has to be smacking. Second, I decided to go to some experts, not necessarily in kissing, although they might be, but more in the technical terms. So I went to the maid of honor, Kelsey, and Hannah's friend, the other Hannah, who are both speech pathology majors, like Hannah. And they said that you should begin by flexing your orbicularis oris, incorporate some gentle motions with the masseter. You'll probably experience some involuntary action from your zygomaticus major. Just a heads up. And then many choose to make use of their orbicularis oculi, but I've heard that it's quite invigorating without. So. And lastly, in my research, I went to the 2009 classic hit by Kesha, My First Kiss, in which she offers the sound advice. My first kiss went a little like this, and twist, and twist. Also good. So to review, smacking sound, orbicularis oris, and twist. And that is Gabe explains kissing. Now, if you want to see a demonstration of the kissing, Luke and Hannah asked that you don't clink your glasses, but rather come up and share something, a memory, a story, or a piece of advice about it for the two of them. So, as a quick example, I've known Luke for a long time, and one of my favorite memories he won't remember because he was asleep in the basement of Eric Dornbos at a sleepover. It was probably like 1 p.m. We were having a sleepover, and Luke always went to bed early, so I sidled up next to him, and I had like 3 Sharpie markers, and proceeded for the next like 2 hours to create just a wonderful work of art. I wrote my name on his face, twirled, gave him a Rudolph nose. Luke woke up the next morning, went into the bathroom to get ready for the morning, came out as if nothing had happened, went and got breakfast, got some strange looks from Eric's parents, and we proceeded to play fruit ball until like 3 in the afternoon, and he never noticed. So the advice part of this is, Hannah, you should try it. And now,
I'd like to start it out. And God's going to keep you together. When you go apart, just call on Jesus. Man should always pray and not faint. So, family that prays together stays together. And also remember this. The Bible will keep you away from sin, and sin will keep you away from the Bible. So, always read your Bible, and the Bible has something for every area of your life. Whatever you want to know is in the Bible already. And if you follow the Bible and do what the Bible said, because he said, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Psalm 119, 105. So, and it said, I will look to the hills from which cometh my help, because my help comes from the Lord, which made the heaven and earth. Psalm 121, 1. Psalm 121, 1. And also the light. Psalm 37, 4 and 5 say, delight yourself in the Lord, and he'll give you the desire of your heart. And I hope you both so live in this world, until in the world to come, you'll have life everlasting. And trust God, because you can always call on him, and he will answer. And God answers prayer. Amen.
and we always had big talks at night when I come home from engineering, and I just blow it all on her and say, oh, this day is awful, and then we'd talk in the kitchen for, the next half an hour, and we didn't really ever have, I can't remember any fights, but one thing that made me so angry was when we would play Nuts, this card game where you're all on the apartment floor and you each have a deck and you're playing in the middle, and it's so fast and I can't keep track of any of the cards. And at the end we count up our score, and I have like -5, and Hannah's like, oh, I think I have 30. And that was just one round, and I could never beat her. So that was the one thing that was the worst about living with Hannah. But other than that, it has been a privilege, and Luke is quite a lucky man.
best friends I have were DeJong. He was my first roommate at Calvin College, and probably one of the greatest encouragers I had. And honestly, I probably would not be here, and I wouldn't be probably as developed in my faith. I mean, I have a long ways to go still, but I think Luke was probably one of the most influential people in terms of like the development of my faith. There have been a couple times that I've either symbolically or literally fallen, and among the first people that encouraged me was Luke. When I dropped out of the Calvin my first semester, Luke was there to give me these words: "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you." Like, plans to give you hope in the future. And like, as hard as those words were to hear at first, like, when I came back and like saw the path that I might start crying here, but like when I saw the path that started seeing like that, what God had in store for me, like I just couldn't help but thank Luke for that, because he was the one who gave me those words of encouragement. And then last fall, at Nationals, I was looking to lead our team to a national title. And I fell in the first 300 meters. And it was a very tough race, but I did the best I could. And among the first people to come up to me, again, was Luke. And he just, like before the race, he said, "We support you 100%. And then after that race, he said the same thing. And I'm a mess. I'm like, just bawling my eyes out because like, I just wanted so badly to help the team win. But like, what Luke was telling me in that moment was that it's not about winning the race. It's not about like where you finish. It's about the fact that like, as long as you give your best and like ran for more than just yourself, like that's the part that really means the most. And if there was any runner at Calvin College that I met that understood that it was Luke, like he may not have been the most talented runner, but sorry. All right, but seriously. No, but seriously though, like, if there was one man I could count on to give everything he had, and one man that I could count on to be a reliable teammate out there, it was definitely Luke. Like, there was not another person like that I could think of that we looked to as a leader, and just who we could count on. I mean, like, regardless of what times I ran or whatever, I mean, I would go to Luke after races, like, seeking advice, or like, he was practically a counselor for me at times during my career. But like, I mean, he just said that, I'm just rambling now, but sorry for that, and sorry for wasting your guys' time with my soapbox here, but what I really want to say though is that Luke is just an incredible encourager, and he's very strong in his faith, and that's an absolute inspiration, and that's why he was the leader he was. And I'm just very happy for you that you have Luke in your life. And Luke, I'm extremely happy for you. Like, the two of you are going to do very well together, I think. And I just hope that God blesses you guys with a very long, prosperous, joyful, happy marriage.
and we were taking a break, probably halfway through the trip, and Luke asked, "So what do you think about Bigfoot?" And me being, what, 15-year-old? Yeah, of course it's like, there's so much out there. So Luke and I made this bet that every year on one of our birthdays, that I would give him $10 until Bigfoot was discovered. And then when Bigfoot is discovered, he will give me 1,000. Well, here's the 50th dollar. My advice is for him. Two things. Firstly, Luke has a very, very good memory. Second of all, he gets suckered into really bad bets.
But through all that, there was so much love, and the boys, with Luke at the lead, accepted these girls and the young Nate, and for who they were, and loved them, and found joy in them, and was even expanded by them once in a while. Anyway, so Hannah, you be you, and Luke will adjust really nicely.
Now, at this point, we are going to have the members of the bridal party give their toasts, and then we're going to follow that with the cutting of the cake. So, I'm not sure who is beginning. It is Kelsey. So, Kelsey.
Alright, I've known Hannah for a very long time. We grew up going to the same church together, so as long as I can remember, we've had play dates and just everything. It's been great to know her for so long. And it's funny because as I was reflecting back on like the beginning of our friendship, I always thought of her as like just a very well-behaved and sensible child. And just, it's funny because as I've gotten to know her more, you just get to see her crazy fun side. And one of my favorite things about Hannah is that we're adventure buddies. And I love that we can just call each other and be like, you want to meet in 5 minutes and go do whatever? And she's always up for a great adventure. And aside from that, I just love that Hannah is such a great friend. I know that I can go and talk to her about anything. She just has solid advice, and I just love her so much. And I'm so happy for you guys. And I'm so glad that you'll be in Iowa City so we can hang out all the time. Hannah's your college roommate and lifelong friend. I just want to thank you. Thank you for just all the fun memories we've had and for your steady friendship. I remember when I first hopped on the cross-country bus, I didn't really know anyone, and I immediately found in you just a kind-hearted spirit and a deep care for others, and just your love for Jesus was evident. And I quickly realized I could count on you for a listening ear and for an example to follow. You were always ready with a hug when I was struggling with engineering, or ready with laughter when Gabe was distracting us with his YouTube videos. He's good at that. We just had a lot of memories with the team, teaching our bellies for nationals, or climbing the waterfalls of Stokely, or just walking up and down the beach and spinning under the stars, or playing Pass the Snort or Buddy favorite games. We've also had our own memories, biking to church on Easter Sunday, or hosting food contests in our apartment, and having snowball fights on the way to church. And I soon realized I'd have to share some of the memories passed on to Luke. And Luke, I've seen your relationship with Hannah grow from the very beginning, and as I've upheld the honorable position of being your third wheel. And also as I've eavesdropped on just about every one of your dinner conversations, I'm just really convinced of your deep love for Hannah, and also to God as the foundation of your relationship. And I know that you will continue to bring out the best in each other and hold each other accountable. I know you love Hannah through the good and bad times, and when she's young and old, even when she's sweaty at the end of the 10K. For those of you who don't know, I asked Luke, I interviewed him for a wedding shower game. And when I asked him, he said that he thinks Hannah looks the best at the last mile of a good 10K. So I just pray for strength, joy, and peace as you embark on your new journey. And I know you feel bad about not visiting me in Minnesota yet, but now that I'm hosting you for your honeymoon there, all is good.
Alright, I'm Annie. I have had the privilege of being friends with Luke since he was born. And when I thought about what story to tell, the first one that came into my mind was a kind of obscure one. You might not even remember it. It's a story from a camping trip, but it's not a story from the epic backpacking camping trips that Luke is famous for. not from Texas or the Smoky Mountains or Isle Royale. It is from a much more humble campground. It's from when we went camping at Deep Lake, which is not a very popular campground at all. We were there because cross-country camp was happening at Gun Lake, and we were graduated, but we're coming back for Alumni Day. So we were gathered there just for one night. And this campground was so unpopular that we were the only people, and our group of friends were the only people in the whole campground. And at 10 p.m., the rangers came by and said, "All right, guys, we're going home. Have a good night." So we were all by ourselves in this campground. And so we're talking about how we're going to split up payment for this site. And what we decided was, there's the honor system. We're only here one night. We're our poor college people. We're just going to leave and not worry about it. So, which sounds terrible now, but there's a lot of logical thing in the moment. So we're driving out, and Luke and I are in the car together. We're the last ones to leave, and we're pulling out, and we get to the kiosk, and Luke slows down, gets out his wallet, rolls down the window, puts 45 bucks in the hole. And I say, "Luke, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Annie, integrity is what you do when no one's watching." And I had never heard that before, and it really struck me like, what were we thinking? Of course we need to pay. But I've continued to have that phrase bounced around inside of me for a while, and even when I went off to Seattle, it would still ping around in my thinking of doing something, and what would Luke do? I need to have integrity. And Luke, you really are one of the best examples of integrity in my life, and I really value that. And I've seen that integrity in experiences like that. I've seen that integrity as you've taken leadership roles on the cross-country team. I've seen it in your spiritual life and your really, truly genuine faith. And I've also seen it in your relationship with Hannah, and that's been really beautiful to see you guys complement each other like that. So my prayer and my blessing for you guys is that you continue to have that integrity in your life in Iowa, and that it is an example to others just as it was to me.
Alright, so I'm Hannah's little brother Jack. So I've gotten to grow up with Hannah obviously for 16 to 18 years. And having an older sister is cool, but I always really want to have an older brother. Never happened. But now that Luke's in the family, I can say I'm really excited to have Luke as an older brother. Get to know him a little bit better, hopefully have some fun adventures that I always hear about, but haven't been able to participate in. So I do have a couple pieces of advice. With Hannah growing up in the family and knowing that she's not the greatest cook in the world. Maybe she did. But also getting to know Luke, he's not the most fond of being in the kitchen. So I think one thing I'm going to miss about Hannah being in Grand Rapids, and one thing she'll probably miss, is me going over there for Sunday dinner and cooking him dinner sometimes. So I've taken the privilege of trying to teach her a few skills in the kitchen. In fact, this summer whenever she's been in town, we've tried to grill and show her how better to provide for Luke, I guess, in the kitchen area. But Luke, you live pretty close to McDonald's, so if stuff goes wrong, you can always stop there. The other piece of advice I want to give is, not piece of advice, one thing I'm concerned about is that I'm really excited to be an uncle at some point. And so, seeing as how both of you guys are cross-country runners, no knock on you guys, but most cross-country runners, let's all agree, don't have the best hand-eye coordination. So I'm hoping that I can use my hand-eye coordination skills and maybe help your children at some point. I mean, Hannah has good hand-eye coordination for a girl, but I specifically remember one time we were playing catch in the front yard with a baseball. I was probably 10 years old, so she might have been 12. And I wasn't throwing it that hard. But for some reason, she stuck her glove out and the ball just hit her in the forehead. Yeah, those are a couple pieces of advice. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you guys, or you, Luke, a little bit better. I know you obviously. Here you go.
One thing that I like to talk about, and it's already been mentioned, but that Luke is very responsible and always has things planned out, even if he doesn't know what's going to happen. I don't know if you know this. Well, Luke got a car when he was in high school, and I'm now driving that. And his glove compartment is like a collection. He has like a beach ball, he has rope, he has, I don't know, binoculars. Like, who's gonna use binoculars ever? But so like if my friend needed a beach ball, I'm like, I don't have a beach ball, but thanks, Luke, there's one in the glove compartment. There was also the same backpacking trip that Joel, that was the Bigfoot thing. We were backpacking on the first day, and there was a bridge out, and we had to cross the river, and we're like, we need some rope, and Luke just pulls out like 200 feet of rope. Through that, I've learned how to be more responsible, I guess, and I thank you for that. Also, I've seen just a lot of honesty and integrity from you in difficult situations, and also responsibility in your spiritual life. And you show honesty and integrity even in the times that might not be as evident, like where people might not see it as easily. So I'm sure that Joel and I would not be the same people without you today.
We had the pleasure of having Hannah with us for our last Christmas vacation up in Upper Peninsula. And I'm not sure how this conversation came about, but we were asked how we'd be different if we had a sister in the family. And I kind of got in a little bit of trouble for that, because I asked, why would we want one? But we, again, are honored to have Hannah join us as a young family, and have Luke to join the Kregel family as well. Luke has been one of my biggest role models, if not the best role model I've ever had. And in high school, I probably did the best job I could to kind of rebel against that. Table number 2 might agree with that. But Luke and Hannah, you as individuals and you as a couple have done a very good job of showing God. I was reading the Fruits of the Spirit with the Cabin Devotions with a bunch of young kids, and I noticed that there were 9 fruits of the Spirit. And I was reading through these, and it struck me how well you two as individuals and you as a relationship, you as a couple, fit these perfectly. Hannah, in you I see patience, I see kindness, I see gentleness. I've heard you raise your voice once, and that was an encouragement of another runner. But I've listened to Luke talk, and Hannah and I were talking about this, and Hannah said, no, I need some time to think about this. That is wise. That is a very mature thing to step back to think, to process, especially when Luke might be very much so, well, A leads to B, B leads to C, so let's do A. A very logical thinker. But your kindness is evident to everyone in this room, but especially those who know Hannah well. But it's an aura that is around you, and that's very clear. Luke, in you I see goodness, faithfulness, and self-control. Goodness, for some, might seem like a very abstract word, but when I think of Luke, that is a very firm, a strong, a concrete word that means integrity. It means a man who says what he will do, and then he does it. That has meant some hard conversations with Luke, as he keeps me accountable for that. But very, very meaningful. Luke, faithfulness, again, you stick with it. You've been injured more times than I can count across country, and he gets back out. His legs healed, he goes. And that is a very challenging thing for both Mark and I. But self-control as well. You wake up 6 o'clock on days where we're on vacation, you go run right before we go for a 10-mile backpacking trip. That is beautiful. But in your relationship, love, obviously, as we talked about earlier, joy, we mentioned during the sermon that find joy in your relationship, but also find peace. Find peace in your relationship. Find that respite within the two of you. And the focus on those things. You shining God, not only to each other, but having your relationship shining God to everyone sitting in this circle. Everyone that you will meet on your honeymoon, but everyone you will meet and however long you may live. Shine God because you've shown God to us. Focus on that. And God will give you more than Hannah can handle. God will give Luke more than he can handle. God will give Luke and Hannah more than they can handle. But God will never give them more that both of them and God cannot handle. With that, I love you guys.
Wait a minute, where's the kissing? We have 6 pieces, we have to have 6 pieces.
Then we need at least 3 people to show us how. Sounds like Gary and Julie would be the first ones.
Okay, go on now.
On behalf of and I, we just want to say thank you. It is a joy to see each person here and to know that there are stories that we could share and you could share about each of us as individuals, each of us as a couple, and just the profound blessing it is to be able to have you gathered all in the same place, so that we can see just, I think of the song, Great is Thy Faithfulness, to see the people that have shaped the two of us into who we are, and to see God's faithfulness so evident in each of you, and the stories that you could tell, and the jokes we shared, and the deep conversations we've had, just that God's been faithful through you. Think of the people in here that can remember our first steps, and the people who in here can remember us running down the driveway as little kids, people who saw us heading off to high school, people here who watched literally run thousands of miles along our side. And just to know that each of you has walked with us in different ways, but along the journey that's brought us to today. And that's just been an honor. And as Hannah and I start a new journey together, we ask that you continue to walk with us. And that'll look different. We'll be in different states. I'll be in a brand new place on the Iowa cornfields. But that you continue to walk with us as we learn to walk with each other. Just the joy is to celebrate here today with each of you. So thank you on behalf of all of us.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. Soon there will be dessert out on the lawn, and there will be just eating and mingling out there. And then Luke and Hannah will be departing at 8:15. Oh, sorry.
You got to go down
To go down to the lake.
Communication layers. So we will leave here at 8:15, and at that point, we're going to head down to the lake to enjoy what looks to be a beautiful Lake Michigan sunset. You are welcome to join us over at the DeJong-Kregel or Luke's place, I think it's labeled on the signs. And if you would like to join us, there will be a fire there this evening, and I believe around 9 after the sunset. But anyone is welcome, no obligation. Certainly, we'll be off here around 8:15, so if we can say a final farewell at that point, you're certainly welcome to join us down at the lake. So thank you once again.
Yes, but we'll make an announcement when the dessert is ready. And if you do want to go down to the beach, we're going to park back at the church as parking around the cottage will be limited. And we'll walk people or shuttle down.
Some people can park down there, but just
So people can begin by past the